local, late breaking. This is WDSU News at 5.
At the twilight's last gleaming,
Saints sitting on the sidelines during the national anthem.
through the perilous.
That's a total disrespect of everything that we stand for.
And silent protests growing wider after the president's comments.
Tonight, I'm taking a knee for America.
Not trying to divide and separate this country. We're trying to bring everybody together.
As entertainers and athletes drop to their knee to take a stand. As the Saints bring home their first win of the season, eyes were not only on the field but also on the sidelines as many players sat in protest during the national anthem. Good evening, I'm Casey Ferran. Thanks for joining us. We have team coverage tonight with sports anchor Fletcher Mackel on the Saints' victory over the Panthers. But first, we begin with Tammy Estwick, who's live at the Superdome with more on the Saints players' protest. Tammy?
Yeah, that's right, Casey. Today, several Saints players sat during the national anthem in North Carolina. And tonight, after that game was played, head coach Sean Payton bashed the president's comments made on Friday.
To say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired.
He's streaming and at the twilight.
Yeah, that was the president's comments. Now, in response, this is the scene before today's game as Saints players sat during the anthem, and Sean Payton had this to say about Trump's speech.
Personally, I'm disappointed in the comments that were made. I think we need a little bit more wisdom in that office, and that's being a little blunt, but that's how I feel. I want that guy to be one of the smarter guys in the room, and it seems like every time he's opening his mouth, it's something that is dividing our country and not pulling us together.
If it takes people kneeling down at a sports game to bring up bigger issues, then that's what it takes. We need to have politicians taking a knee in Congress and then the Senate to address these issues.
Now, the Saints organization also released a statement. Our organization takes great pride in equality and inclusion and find the comments by the president disappointing and inappropriate relative to our players on this issue. They went on to say, we believe strongly in honoring our flag and the national anthem and what it represents, and we support our players. Well, coming up tonight at 10, we get local responses to the president's call to boycott the NFL. Tammy Eswick, WDSU News. Back to you, Casey.
All right, thank you, Tammy. And current and former Saints players took to Twitter to call out the president after his controversial comments. Saints offensive tackle Teron Armstead tweeted, "The fact that Trump is actually the president of the U.S. is more of a disgrace than any protest could ever be." Defensive end Cam Jordan, who also sat out today during the national anthem, tweeted yesterday saying the president's comments only validates Colin Kaepernick bringing social injustice to light. He kneeled hoping it would bring attention to what he believed in. Has it not? And a local business pushing back against this protest, deciding not to show today's game at all. Now, the Wild Cafe and Wingery in St. Bernard Parish posted this to their Facebook page hours ago, explaining that since some of the players decided to sit during the national anthem, the game will not be played on their TV screens. Now to the Saints game itself. The Black and Gold picked up a much needed win today in Charlotte, and joining us now with highlights is sports anchor Fletcher Mackel.
That's right, Casey. Talk about a must-win game for the Black and Gold. Sean Payton's team entered today 0-2, while only 12% of teams starting 0-2 rebound to make the playoffs. 0-3 squads are really out of luck. In fact, the last team to dig their way out of an 0-3 hole in advance to the postseason, the 1998 Buffalo Bills. To Charlotte we go, a place the Saints have struggled historically. 4-7 since Drew Brees arrived in 2006. No struggles today. Brees shredded the league's top-rated defense, throwing for 220 yards and 3 3 touchdowns as the Saints routed the previously unbeaten Panthers 34-13. Breeze led 6 scoring drives and threw touchdowns to Michael Thomas, Brandon Coleman, and ex-Panthers wide receiver Ted Ginn. The Saints avoid the dreaded 0-3 start. Rookie Alvin Kamara put the game away with that 25-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter.
I think we had a good week of practice. I thought we had some good things early on happen. First drive was good. Defensively, the first turnover resulted in a touchdown. And look, there'll be a lot we have to clean up, but I was pleased the players were able to get a win.
The Saints leave Charlotte tonight and head to the United Kingdom to face the Miami Dolphins next Sunday in London's Wembley Stadium. The last time the Saints played overseas, 2008. That year, they beat the Chargers in London. One more note on the National Anthem coming up later in sports. Hear what Drew Brees has to say about his fellow teammates sitting during the National Anthem. Casey?
And time I got over there, he had shot the first lady in the back in the parking lot.
Police have identified the gunman who killed one woman and injured 6 others at a Tennessee church this morning. But before he could get away, the gunman was confronted by a church usher who had a gun himself. Nashville police say as services were ending at the Burnett Chapel Church of Christ, Emmanuel Sampson shot a woman walking to her car. Police say he then went into the church and shot 6 other people. After a 22-year-old usher at the church grabbed a pistol from his car, the gunman then shot himself. Police say the suspect's injuries are not life-threatening. Now, we will continue to cover this story on air and online. You can also tune in to the nightly news after this broadcast for the latest on this Nashville church shooting. To weather now, another warm day of fall here in New Orleans, and WDSU meteorologist Daniel Graves has a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got the sunshine and the cloud cover here in the Crescent City, but many areas right now still seeing some rainfall. So while you might not have seen any rainfall in your neighborhood, it is really coming down, especially across parts of the North Shore. Here's a look at a picture my friend Sandra sent in here, and you can see the sunshine, but also the rain coming down in Independence in Tangipahoa Parish. So we definitely still have some rainfall around this evening. You can see mainly confined to the North Shore down near the coast as well. That heavy rainfall from that picture in Independence, you can see that rain moving through, some lightning strikes associated with that as well. So hearing some rumbles of thunder as well, even down towards Hammond as well, up towards Kentwood, some shower activity, and over toward Mississippi near the Poplarville area, still seeing some showers and storms along I-59 as well. More shower activity building toward the west. If that's able to hold together, still could get a little more rainfall across Mississippi and the North Shore, and up towards Thibodaux, seeing some showers as well. But where you have not had the rainfall, you're dealing with the heat. 88 right now in Houma, 87 at the Kenner Airport, 86 at the lakefront, and up towards Slidell. When you factor in the humidity, it's feeling like the low to the mid-90s. We do have a little bit of a breeze to mix up the air out of the east, 10 to 15 miles per hour, but that's all we have to really cool us off for now. We'll talk more about your forecast for the week ahead coming up.
Thank you, Daniel. And officials unveiling a new North Sea playground in New Orleans, and this one includes nearly $1 million in new equipment. The Lehman Playground is right next to the Lafitte Greenway, and this playground has basketball courts, soccer goals, bike racks, bleachers, and exercise stations, all in an effort to get local residents moving and bring the community together. And over at Crescent Park, people were pounding the pavement for the annual Chevron No AIDS Walk. For 28 years, organizers have used this event to raise money for AIDS and HIV treatment programs. In 2015, about 6,600 people in Orleans and Jefferson parishes were living with HIV, and 420 people died with the virus. Republican senators are leading the fight to repeal and replace Obamacare. 3 GOP no votes would doom the bill by Senator Bill Cassidy, and there are already some Republicans leaning against it. While many Republican senators are urging others to give the bill a shot, NBC's Jennifer Johnson has the latest from Washington.
The countdown has begun on Capitol Hill to get a health care bill passed by the end of the week, when only 50 yes votes are needed. Without any Democratic support, 3 Republican no's will kill the plan.
We can't just keep piling on new money. There has to be a few conservatives left in Washington who'll say, we really were for repeal and still are for repealing Obamacare.
Senator Rand Paul, who doesn't think the Graham-Cassidy bill moves far enough away from Obamacare, is likely to join Senators John McCain, Susan Collins, and maybe others House and killing the GOP plan.
Well, it is hard for me to envision getting to yes on this bill because my concerns are so fundamental.
Of particular concern, deep cuts to Medicaid and what happens to people with pre-existing conditions. Their future will be put in the state's hands.
Pre-existing conditions are protected in this legislation. It does not change the legislation that Obama had in Obamacare.
But there are no guarantees states won't drastically increase premiums for millions of already sick people. Still, one of the bill's writers insists it has a shot.
The only way you'll know how people vote is when you actually vote. We thought we had the votes last time, and we didn't.
The White House is calling for a vote Wednesday. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
Next at 5, Puerto Rico still recovering after Hurricane Maria. How New York is lending a hand. Plus,
it goes deeper, darker. Nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing.
It's gone hard. A night of premieres on NBC, the new show that gives a look inside undercover military operations.